Today we are doing part 3 of INOUE's Masterclass versus Fulton. We are finishing the series. The first couple parts went into deep detail covering the small aspects of what made INOUE successful. Here we're going to be more brief so we can take a look at the finish. Let's go. In this fourth round, I think a lot of questions are answered. So one of the many questions is like, why is Fulton just standing in front of him and not really doing anything? Here you kind of got that. He's kind of like feigning and slipping and throwing some jabs every now and then, but he's hesitating. Well, go back to those first two parts. You see Fulton trying to establish things, and whenever he's trying to build something, INOUE destroys it. He counters him, he starts chasing him down, he starts throwing combinations, he throws that jab to the body to disrupt his rhythm and his forward progress. And then on top of that, he can't back up or escape, because we also saw in those first two parts that whenever he try and back up and escape, INOUE would chase him down and start beating him up. One concept I'm going to focus on more in boxing particularly, but in all striking I break down, is vision. So for example, this jab to the body, he throws it and Fulton's guard goes down in response. This is only the fourth round, but those things get noted and then they get, acted upon later on. So when I talk about not allowing anything to get started, this is what I mean. For example, even probes, if Fulton is trying to gauge that distance, trying to keep some punch traffic out there, INOUE punishes that too. And then in this example, we have INOUE actually missing the shot. It bounces off the guard of Fulton, but the impact is so much that it knocks Fulton off balance. And I talk about his defense. Fulton's defense is super impressive in this fight. When you're watching in slow motion, Fulton's catching, slipping, getting out of the way of almost the vast majority of these shots. I don't want to say almost all, but like INOUE wasn't landing that much, but he didn't have to in order to be effective. The power, the speed, the counter punching, constantly shutting down everything Fulton's doing and chasing them down the legs and the balance. It wasn't much Fulton could do. Even though he was defending the shots, it's not like he could counter effectively. This is an example of what I mean, where he's caught between a rock and a hard place, that being Fulton, where he can either try and stand there and trade with INOUE, which means he's in the middle of the fire with somebody that hits way harder than him, or he can try and escape and try and stick and move. But when he's trying to stick and move, he's constantly being reset. He's getting hit with combinations because he's not throwing anything back. He's not throwing enough back to make INOUE pause and stop. So whenever he stops, he gives INOUE a chance to open up with combinations, and whenever he's throwing back, he gives INOUE an opportunity to counter. And then in contrast to the fifth round, which we just showed, in the sixth round, he's more trying to walk INOUE down still. So he's not giving up. No matter what, yeah, he's tentative at times because he's getting countered, but he's not giving up. He's trying to find new solutions. And here he's trying to advance again with that jab, but those jab counters are there. And like I said, they don't have to land. The threat of those things coming back at you, even when they hit your guard, bounce off, that power is enough to make you second guess and hesitate. The power and the speed. And so essentially it's like a field of landmines. Even if you avoid a landmine but still see the explosion, when you're walking down that field, you're going to be extra cautious and careful. So some of these shots not even landing clean, so a lot of these shots missing, but the counters, just knowing that those landmines are there, will slow somebody down. And that's what happened in this fight for Fulton. And then in the pre-fight breakdown before this fight happened, I mentioned how INOUE has so many counters. He has lead uppercuts, backhand uppercuts, crosses, jabs, check hooks. So he's countering in so many different ways too. So it's not predictable. Earlier I was talking about vision. Jab to the body, and then INOUE, his vision is always on the target. So he sees that left arm go down and then he pauses. Just a few seconds later, the finish happens, and what's Fulton's guard doing is doing the exact same thing. That left hand comes down. And INOUE had noted that from earlier. First of all, he was looking for the shot in the second round, I believe. So he was already looking for the shot, but he stopped throwing that cross after the jab to the body up until this round, where he saw that left arm lower in response. And then that's where he fired that cross over top. Got a lot of different variety of content coming out. I'm still deciding what type of old school fighter I want to look at. So that will probably have to wait, but then we have some other vids coming. So just stay tuned, subscribe, like, all that. Immortality Serum out.